Um, Welcome, America, Europe, people
Hello,
everywhere.
people from Japan.
Yeah, hello. I think I got a couple now from people in Pakistan and India. That's pretty cool.
Oh,
Um,
that's amazing.
this is the big draw. I am Ryan Gutierrez, your host, and a used up old sock of a person today. And my guest is Guy. Guy, would you like to introduce yourself to the audience?
Hello, people. I'm Guy. That's it. No, I'm just joking. I'm Guy. I've been an illustrator for like professional illustrator for like 4 years or so. I use it to do dark fantasy, and now I am like a whip. I mean, I do anime stuff and hit conventions.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's so I've known Guy through the internet for probably what almost a year now, Guy.
I think it's a little bit more already. I think it's about a year and a half, almost 2 years, because you joined Dave's Discord around what, the beginning of 2024.
Yeah, is that how we met through Discord?
Yeah, I remember that you were like a bit anxious about how to stream and how to do so and how to reply to chat,
Oh my
and
god,
I
yeah.
was like, dude, chill, we got this. And since
Yeah.
then we established our friendship, and
Yeah.
sometimes you send me dirty pics and I get
It's
happy, so it works.
yes. It's what occasionally I send him foot pics
I mean, it's
as
a
we talk.
beautiful feat.
Yeah, no, it does. I mean, so this is actually the first time that we've like spoken, but unless have we had phone calls before? I don't remember because you're honestly
No, never.
your voice is really familiar. Where I feel like I've already been talking to you for a while. Maybe that's because you sound exactly like I imagined. But
I mean, sometimes when you are sleeping, I go through your window and start to whisper in your ear, but I
that's what
think
it is.
that could be.
That explains a
Yeah,
lot.
but we never spoke. I mean, I'm not really like a talkative guy when it comes to calls. I'm a little bit shy, I think so.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's first time.
yeah. It's funny because like so are would you say you're an introvert?
Yeah, I people usually think that I am an extrovert, but I think I am introvert. I mean, I have like this persona of a fun guy and eccentric, but when it comes to being in my home, I'm almost all the time with my headphones, listening to music and trying to study something.
Yeah, yeah. I think well because a lot of people don't like because I actually realized a few years ago I am kind of an introvert even though I seem like I'm not because I think the definition from what I understand and people can correct me because I'm sure in the chat there's no shortage of people that know about this. But from what I understand, being an introvert means that being social kind of costs you energy, and being an extrovert means that being social kind of it gives you energy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, sometimes when I go out, it's all fun and games, but it little by little, I get so exhausted, and
Yeah,
sometimes it's so much that I have to take like 2, 3 days off of meeting anyone or talking. I hate talking in my phone with family and stuff. I
yeah,
hate attending to those social parties. Usually, when I go out, it's either to have food because I'm a fatty or because I have to work. Aside from that, I am so much a home person, like watching movies, playing games, drawing.
yeah,
It's the best thing I can do.
yeah. No, I relate to that. I'm like, yeah, because I feel like I enjoy people. I like them. But it's the same thing. Like once I'm done with that, I need time off to be alone. Like and my wife, she's still getting used to it after we've been together like eight years, and she's still astounded that like, we'll hang out with her friends for like a day, and then I'm like, okay, I don't want any social obligations for like 2 days at least. Um,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
so if there's like holidays where I'm with people for several days at a time, I turn into such a grumpy little bitch.
Yeah, people start to be like, "Dude, are you mad?" And I am just like, "Dude, I just need some personal space.
Yeah,
Really, I need to listen to some music and be away because I
yeah,
don't know it. It's like when it comes to ADHD, people call it masking. We like kind of assume a mask, and we perform like we are another person. But in
Mm.
reality, it costs so much. So like when attending conventions, usually my wife says, "Oh, you do the talking so well, and sometimes you even get some sales because the person's like you." And inside I'm like, "Go away, go away, go away," because it's really taxing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's for me. It's like I really like I said, I really like people, but I also feel like, especially now that like I have a little more of a following, um, I find that being social does require that I work a little harder because I can't just say whatever the hell pops in my head because people will remember that, you know. Like so I was talking to someone else, who works in my field, and they started selling their books and they started doing a little better, and people started having them on their podcast and going to conventions, and they were like, the problem is it's not even necessarily a problem, it's just something you got to be aware of, is like if you have an off day, where you're just a little tired and you're not so nice because you're a little tired, people will
Yeah,
remember that,
for sure.
you know.
We start to become like an influence to other people's, and
Yeah.
every time that we grow up, like especially in the internet, as soon as we commit a minor mistake, someone who hates us secretly will
Yeah.
go and say, "Oh, remember that day that Ryan
Yeah.
he started to go off about."
Yeah, well, I talked about this exact thing with my wife, and she kind of laughed because she was like, "Honey, that's not going to happen." She's like, "You're literally nice all the time," and I was like, "No, I'm
Yeah.
not." She's like, "I get grumpy." She's like, "Even when you're grumpy, you're like kind of smiling at people and giving them the time." And I was like, "But in my mind, I'm very like, I don't want to talk. Someone give me eggs. I'm tired. I want food. Where's the meat? Like I just have this." But she's like, "Yeah, nobody can really tell." She can tell because she knows me, but so that was like, okay, that's good to know that nobody can tell that I'm internally screaming because it's been like,
Yeah, I can agree with your wife because I never saw you being rude or anything. But I get what you mean. I mean, we have like this performance anxiety.
mm-hmm,
So sometimes we are trying to be the best we can be,
she,
but people won't notice even if try our best or if we don't try because they just enjoy being with us and listening to us and talking to us.
yeah.
But for ourselves inside our brains, we are like, dude, I am being so rude today.
No, yeah, I always have those moments where like, or I'll make a joke with a friend and I'll be like, oh, that joke, that was too far. I think I hurt their feelings. And then I'll be like, I'm sorry I said that. And he's like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, I wasn't
Yeah,
even, and it's just like, what's
exactly.
wrong? And it's like, people need to, the thing I'm learning as I get older, and how old are you, by the way? Because I'm looking down the
I,
barrel at 40.
I am 31.
Oh, okay, you got some time. The older I get,
You got some time. It's like you're gonna die tomorrow.
yeah, yeah. I don't have a lot of days left. No, the older I get, the more I realize like nobody cares because nobody's really that concerned with what I say to them. And, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? But oh wow, look at everybody we got in the chat. Hey, what's up, Edgar, Madara, Broken Blade, Nim? We got all these great, all of my, all of
Yeah.
my favorites. Nim, how you doing?
Love it, people from Ryan's cave.
Yes,
I
well,
feel I feel like they are your goblins, but I love them.
they are. They're. That should be
It's
my.
just like that Ryan is the Lich Master, and then it comes the goblin is like, "Hey, I want some dark fantasy right now."
Yeah, that's exactly. I when I see the chat, that's how I read all of your voices. It's just this. Well,
Yeah,
Gigi was saying I should start a cult, so I'm thinking about.
yeah, for sure. I mean, you are already a good-looking man,
Oh, thank you.
so Jared Leto is gonna like lose his cult to you.
Oh, that's
He's
awesome.
gonna be jealous, and everybody will go out saying, "Papa Ryan is the best. Papa Ryan is the best."
You know, my
You
brother
go
met
back.
Jared Leto. Did you know that?
What?
My brother met Jared Leto like years ago.
Really?
Yeah, so
Whoa.
my brother lives in LA and he's a personal trainer out there, and he was working at a gym, and he didn't recognize him at first, but he realized Jared Leto was on this weights machine, and and this is like maybe 15 years ago. I remember this story because I just, for some reason, my brain just remembers this stuff. But even there's like useless information. But he walks over to him not because he cares that it's Jared Leto, but because he's my brother's working with a client and he's like he wants to know how many more sets do you have on the lat pull down, you know? And
Mhm.
Jared Leto keeps like waving him off, like as if to say, like, please no autographs or something. And my brother's like, bro, like, I don't give a shit who you are. I'm asking about the machine, asshole. Like, and you know, and Jared Leto
Yeah.
like walked away. My brother was just like, God, what a dick. Like, he's like, why do you assume that I care? Like, I'm asking because I need to use this thing, and you're taking, you know. And then like
Yeah.
years later, we find out he has a cult. So there you go.
Yeah, I think that most of those Hollywood people, not the good ones like Pedro Pascal, your best friend, but I think that when it comes to those guys that feel like they are really big stars, they start to think of so highly of themselves. They
Yeah,
start to be like, oh, everybody wants to talk to me, wants something from me. And sometimes it's, I mean, we are just persons, right?
yeah.
So sometimes we just want to, like your brother, dude, get out of this equipment because I want to pull my weight.
Yeah, yeah, it's really weird. I don't understand. I can't. I mean, it's funny because when you're a kid, you like dream about how cool it would be to be famous. And as I get older, I'm like, that's the last thing I would ever want in my life is to be like, to be one of those people. Like, I just, you know, I don't know what it is, but I just like, I can't even relate to the version of me as a kid that thought that that was cool to be famous. Cause like now I'm like, oh God, it sounds so exhausting. And like when you look at those people, you know?
Yeah, and it's kind of strange because there's two types of famous people. Like
Hmm.
Dave, for an example, he's like just your regular person, but like everyone in the world knows him. So he keeps acting like just a regular person. And I think that even that it takes a little bit of energy from him. Like every time we hop in his stream and people are asking his take on AI and stuff.
Yeah.
Uh,
the same
like,
questions over.
dude, how can I use the crown brush? Oh,
Yeah.
you have such a soft touch. But
Yeah.
yeah, but I feel like the way to go when it comes to being famous is just like you ignore that. You act like this is just part of your job and you keep acting like you're a regular person. But there's these people that starts, I think that mostly the other type of people is the ones that already grew up in a famous environment.
Yeah.
So they act like they are such big stars and that everyone wants to take something from them. I mean, it's like a self defense mechanism. I think so. But it's like you said, it comes exhausting, and those persons start to be like exhausting persons too, because it's difficult to handle them and have an honest talk with them. Like I feel like if I ever met Jared Leto, I would probably punch him because it would be so fucking stressful for me. Like, dude, I just wanna like grab water, and you are
Yeah.
making this much hustle for me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Well, he also, I mean, I feel like everybody wants to punch him now. You know, it's funny because like for years I just never liked him because like I always thought he was kind of a shitty actor and he was just kind of like annoying. Every time he was in a movie, I was like, oh God, here he comes. And then like now all this stuff came out about him that he's like the leader of like a weird Jared Leto sex cult or whatever. And it's
yeah.
and I'm like, why isn't he? Is he canceled yet? Like, can we be done with him? Can we be, if all these other people get canceled, could he be on that list? Because like, holy crap, the stuff that was coming out about him, I was like, how is this guy still around doing stuff legally? I don't know.
It's kind of strange because I feel that there's a lot of people that with a lot less got canceled, but he just do what he wants, and people all around the globe goes like, dude, this guy is crazy and he have a cult.
Yeah,
But uh, it, it seems to me that law doesn't affect him.
yeah,
At least that's what I think.
yeah.
But I remember that one time I hopped in your stream and you were talking about Jason Momoa. I think you worked for cinema with concept art and stuff.
You're asking if I have?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. For some small productions, I haven't done anything. Like I not like Dan. Dan worked on like Transformers and stuff, but
Mm.
I did. I can't even. The movie's still in production, so like I did the first wave of concept art for a horror film being
All right.
produced out of New York. This like period piece movie. So I did a lot of that stuff. And then they transferred me to a second agency where I worked on a bunch of advertising, and I did some early concept art for some other science fiction movies that haven't come out yet. But yeah, I haven't done anything so far that I can point at. Oh, actually, no, I did. I actually did concept art for Dungeons and Dragons for Konami,
Whoa, that's amazing.
but it was for their it was for it was for a Dungeons and Dragons themed casino game, like a what's the one that I don't gamble, but you know in a casino where you like pull the lever, craps
Oh
game.
yeah,
It
the
was
slot machines.
slot machine. It was a D&D slot machine, and they had I had to design some of the creatures and I had to storyboard the advertisement for it. Um, which was one of the funniest, weirdest jobs I ever had because I had to like help them pick the model who was going to play the woman in the ad because they needed someone who looked like an elf. So I had to draw her and then I had to pick a woman, which is a weird amount of power to have that I'm this like, this overworked, sleep deprived concept artist in a studio, and I'm looking at all these pictures of these, like, and these are like actresses, so these are like beautiful women, and I'm looking at each of them, and I'm like, you want me to pick one of these? Like, they're all better looking than I am. Like,
Can I pick them all?
yeah, it's like she's like they should all get the part. All of these women look like enchanted creatures. Like it's not. But
Yeah.
that was weird. That was a weird time.
It's fun because when working, especially with concept, it feels like sometimes we get in such weird spots.
Hmm.
Like there was this time I was doing some concept of art for a game, and the dude was like, "So I have another game company who does like it's Eldritch horror, but it's not safe for work Eldritch horror. Would you be up to do concept art?" And I was like, "Dude, how can I mean, it was my mistake to ask that, but how can you do Eldritch or her not safe for work?" And then I felt like in a rabbit hole that I wish I never entered, you know?
Oh, oh
But
man, what can you tell me
yeah,
about this? I need to know. I need to know more about this immediately.
tentacles. All I can say is tentacles because I think
Oh,
that I am still on NDA, but I feel like every genre has a niche, and that niche has a not safe for work niche.
oh yeah,
So the more you search for it, and the more people ask you for you to work with them, it's the deeper you will get in those rabbit holes, and then
yeah.
you start to normalize these things. But when you go back to reality, you start to question yourself and be like, dude, what the fuck am I working on?
What is my life? Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. That's. I mean, what's your favorite gig that you've worked on so far?
uh, I think that for when it comes to being favorite, I feel like when I worked for Tormenta, it's like a really big RPG from Brazil. At least I think it's from Brazil. It's like almost like the D&D. It was really really fun. But when it comes to high paying money, I think that I don't know. I'm a bit money hungry, you know. So
Sure.
there was a lot of work like TTRPGs used it to pay me so well. So there was this one that I think it's Eldritch Groove, and I made the cover for their set. And dude, it was like so good to work to them because everything that they asked me to rework or redo, they paid me more, and I was like, dude, I'm gonna get rich.
Yeah.
But uh, at least for what I think that fueled my inner spirit, my inner child, it was Tormenta.
Say it again. What was it called?
It's Tormenta. I'll write it in the chat.
Yeah,
It's
because
like that.
I don't know if it's something I've heard of.
Let me get a cover.
What was it about it that made it your favorite in
I
terms
don't
of
know.
just
It's
enjoyment?
it's just that I used it to play so much RPGs when I was young, so it was like my go-to when it comes to thinking of RPG. Like for people in the states, people think about D&D, right?
Hmm.
So in Brazil, it's Tormenta. It's like that. So I was like, dude, this is setting me up as a professional artist. All the
Yeah,
work that I did before that didn't matter much, but this one made me really feel like I really became a professional, you know?
that's cool as hell. I love that. Yeah, there's certain gigs that I mean, you're like, oh, now I understand how this business works.
Yeah.
Like I get it now. I didn't before, but I do now. You know. Um, yeah, I feel like I've had gigs like that. I've had gigs that were like where they kind of wake you up and you're like, I think I understand the climate that I'm in. Um, but it you know it's one of those things though where I don't know if you had this experience where you look back at the early years of your career and you're like, God, I wish I knew then what I know now. Like, I wish I could negotiate for myself in the way that I do now. Because some of those early
Yeah.
gigs I got, I remember being, looking back, I was totally getting taken advantage of, and I didn't even know. I didn't even have the ability to like understand what was happening. And it's just like, well, that sucks, but you know,
Yeah, it's kind of funny because when I started to get some jobs, I was like really anxious, and that anxiety made me kind of lose some gigs because I
yeah,
was so much like contacting the client and being like, "Oh, this works, this doesn't work," and
yeah,
"Oh, I suck so much," and I think that my insecurity made me lose some works. Aside from that, I I was almost every for my entire career. I really thought that if I became really good, I wouldn't need networking, and I came to realize like in 2 years or so that dude, forget about being really good. If you have good network and you are a easygoing person, it will lend you so much more gigs than being like this awesome non-touchable skilled artist, you know?
it's true. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've been saying it on the stream for a while. Like when younger artists ask me for advice about how to do this for a living, I was just like, well, for one, be on time with your work as much as you can. And if you're not on time, let them know you're not going to be on time. And then aside from that, just like be really nice. Like because I do feel like a big part of, I mean, this is my experience. I don't know if it's true for everybody, but my experience is like a big part of getting jobs is that people just say, well, I just like that guy. You
Yep.
know, he's just nice. Like, I don't know. He's easier to work with. Um, but I don't know if that's where I'm getting gigs or if it's because I have a particular style that people are into at the moment.
I
But
think that everything adds up. But
yeah,
if you have like really good skills and you are not a good guy, you won't get any gigs. And it's pretty much about that because no one wants to work with that douche guy that
yeah,
thinks he's a star and stuff.
yeah.
So I mean, people, if you are listening to this and you think you are a douche, go to conventions because people love douches in conventions. Aside from that, if you're gonna work to any company or so, try to be the best person you can
Yeah,
because it matters a lot.
it really does. Yeah. I mean, there's even you mentioned our Dave Raposa is who we're referencing. Who's for anybody who doesn't know, he's a very popular illustrator. Um, also, people stop DMing me about Dave. I told I've been getting DMs from like a couple of people asking if I can get them a connection with Dave, and I was like, I don't know him. I've never
Hey
met him.
Ryan, do you know how Dave uses Crumb's ink brush?
Yeah, no, literally, I get questions like, oh, it was after I posted the Krita stuff that I did. I got a couple of questions from people on Instagram or not Instagram on Discord who I'm not going to throw them under the bus and say what they are, but they were like asking stuff about Dave because they assume that I know Dave because I use Krita, and I was like, I've never met him. I just have to keep saying it publicly, like I don't know him. I think also because people know that I'm friends with Dan, so people think that
Yeah.
because I'm friends with Dan that I know Dave, and it's like, guys, I don't know anyone in this field. Like any Dan, I know the people in my chat. I know Guy, and I know Dan Warren. And that's
It's
it.
kind of funny because people think that as soon as you have some kind of friendish friendship with anyone, they start to think that these persons get you you gigs,
Yeah.
and they be like, oh, I have so much work, so please take some of my work. But it doesn't work that way.
Yep.
When we talk about being nice and having good connections, it's more about like, if something ever comes up, they will remember you,
Yeah.
and maybe they will say that, oh, I know a guy, so maybe you can contact him. It's
Yeah.
not like instantly you get a lot of gigs and you get rich, because
Yeah.
if it worked that way, I mean, we all know how much Dave works. He works like, I think 10 to 12 hours a day when he's in a good mood with good health. So if things were like that, people getting so much work and stuff, David wouldn't need to work that much. We
Yep.
gotta grab every opportunity we have. So I mean, I will never give a freelance works to someone I doesn't know just because they contacted me and said, "Oh, I saw you on that stream, and I think that you're Dave's friend. So what do you know? What do you think about me? Do you have some work for me? Because
Yeah.
we are not the companies giving work.
Yeah.
We just remember good people and recommend them."
Yeah. Yeah. And also like I agree. And even, so like when I became friends with Dan Warren, I had to be very, I had to be a little careful because I was worried when he and I first started talking. I was like, I had to be honest with him in a conversation. I was like, I hope you know I don't want anything from you. You know
Yeah,
that, and like he really appreciated that because I think he knew that, but like he was like, oh yeah, you don't have to worry. I can tell you're not like a climber, do
yeah,
you have that? Do you have that term in your
yeah.
country, a
For
climber? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. It's like we call it opportunista, because it's like this person will come and be like, "Oh, I'm a friend. So what did you work on?" And
Yeah.
they start to go to other people and say, "Hey, you know this guy? I am his friend." And little by little, they start to kind of use your name to grab jobs and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I don't even know what
this
that would be
word,
like. I don't even know how that would sorry, I mean to cut you off. I
yeah,
don't even know
no,
how
it's
that
okay.
how I don't know how that would function. Like
Yeah,
how does,
really.
but go on.
But I don't know. It's funny because people think that we, as like, when we are a little bit successful, they think that our success can be passed down. But in
Mhm.
reality, there was like, not there wasn't that much times, but I think there was this one or two times that some people were using my name, and I was like, dude, I'm broke, I don't have work for like 2 months, and you're trying to get work saying that you know me, but nobody knows me.
Dude,
It doesn't
what?
work that way. Yeah,
They were trying to use they were like, dude, that's so
yeah, they
messed up.
were like, oh, I know this guy. I mean, I know I am
I
name
know.
it guy, but
I have wanted to point that out because you keep using that, you keep referring to yourself as this guy,
yeah,
and I was like,
yeah.
I know, it's funny.
Because actually my name is Guilherme, but it's really hard for anyone that isn't from Brazil to call me by that name. So little by little, people started calling me Guy because it's the first three letters from my name.
Hmm.
And I mean, I started to do these puns everywhere, but it's like that pun, because I know it's not funny, but it gets funny because I do it so much. It starts to get a little bit ironic.
Yeah, no, and also I wanted to let you know you got I think some comments for you in the chat. I've been seeing your name pop up.
I mean, they probably are talking. Oh, I know this guy.
Yeah, well, someone says that you have a really good accent. That's what Madara says.
Yeah, it's my Texan accent from someone that never hit Texas.
Yeah, people tell you it sounds Texan. Really?
Yeah, I think it's because I have a charge R, but I don't really understand it, because I mean, I never went out from my country, so
Yeah,
I don't really know accents that much.
yeah,
I really got in contact with English, like, because everything is in English in the internet, but I never practiced talking that much, since like it's been like 3 years or so that I started really doing conversations and stuff. So it's probably more of about a difficult of speaking than really being an accent influenced by something or someone.
Well, I can tell you as a tobacco chewing American stereotype, you don't sound anything like a Texan. Let me let you know.
Oh, that's great.
I want to let you know that it's yeah, I mean maybe to other Europeans they hear something that sounds like
Yeah,
it,
it's
but to
funny
to an
because
American you clearly sound like you're not American. So,
yeah, that's what I think so.
yeah.
Because when it comes to Japanese, for an example, when people talk in Japanese, for me, they also sound native.
Mhm.
But when you talk in Japanese with someone that is Japanese, they 100% will notice that you aren't from their country, because
Oh, sure.
it's those small cues that gives you up. There's like some people that really gets good fluency in some languages, but it demands so much work to get in that level that I just think that if I am communication and people are understanding what I say, that's
Mhm.
okay for me. I don't care about being like perfect.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. 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 Oh, what are you working on these days that's got you excited?
So I stopped getting freelance work for like it's been a year or so, because I little by little work stopped coming, because AI and stuff, and I use
Mhm.
it to get like this beginner to intermediate works. And man, almost every work about in that level got trashed. So
Damn, dude.
I decided to be like, dude, if work isn't coming, I'm not looking for it. And I little by little I started to change my style, that, and things started to work. I'm earning like almost the double I use it to earn
Wow.
when I get a lot of works. So nowadays it's pretty much like, dude, I need to do some new merch, some new prints, booster cards, and stuff, because there will be a new convention, and then there will be new public, and I will earn more. So nowadays I just get hyped of like trying to push my skills to be like really original, and having that kind of work that no one else has. So pretty much everything that comes up, I get like really hyped. Sometimes I get a bit uh not angry, but I get a bit anxious and fearful, because I try to make the artwork look the best I can. And I know how much I am a bad drawer. Like I use it to paint for so much time, and I never
Mm.
focused on being like really good in drawing, like doing perspective stuff and for short, and now this became like my focus. So sometimes I get like, dude, I can't get this drawing out of my head, and I stick like 3 to 4 days trying to do something that people would do in like an hour or so. But at the same time, this get me pretty hyped, because I know that I am developing my skills, and
Yeah.
I know that people like to my new work, my new style. So it's like everything that comes up with it, it's a bonus, you know?
That's really cool. I mean, it takes a lot. So I want to give a lot of credit here to at this point in your career just take a left turn and try an entirely different style is pretty great. Um, that's a pretty courageous thing to do. A lot of artists would be really intimidated by that. I'm gonna sneeze. Hold on.
God bless.
Thank you. I have some allergies. Um,
Yeah. By the
uh,
way, are you feeling better? Are you healthy?
oh, I am.
Because
Yes, it's just allergies. It's just seasonal because I'm.
I think that you spent like 2 months or so with sinus. It was
Yeah,
I was starting to get worried. Like, dude,
me too.
Ryan's gonna die.
No, I know. I was actually starting to. I was starting to get really worried too because it kept going away, and then I kept getting. And the way that I would find out that the sinus infection was back was that I would be in the middle of doing something, and then I would get a debilitating migraine to the point where
Yeah.
I would be, and I never get headaches. Like my whole life, I was never someone who got headaches. It's just something that it
And
just didn't happen. But then I would be getting these migraines where I literally couldn't move. I'd be like, the pain was so bad that I was like, oh my god, somebody just put it like hit me in the head with a hammer so I don't have to feel this anymore. And I found
And
out it
it's
was,
kind of
sorry, go
funny
ahead.
because, oh, sorry,
No, go
it's
ahead.
I was just add that migraine, it hits differently. You know, it isn't a regular migraine because it starts to hurt like your eyebrows and
Yeah.
your face, and it feels like people are kind of putting some weight against your head. It feels like your head literally is gonna explode.
Yeah.
So it's a particular feeling, and it's so bad. I used
It's,
it to get a lot of sinus when I was younger.
oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know what happened because it's been like 10 years or so that I don't have it. But I mean, from my like 12 years old to 20, I have had sinus like every year. It
Damn.
became a little colder and I got sinus, and I was like, dude, I just want to breathe and don't have any headaches.
That's terrible. Yeah. well, I've also, that's, it actually brings me to the point is that I realized how lucky I've been because, other people have deal with this shit all the time. And here I am like complaining because I'm getting a headache for the first time, in like my 30s. It's like there's people who I know who like, I just are constantly dealing with migraines. I have issues and I
Yeah.
honestly I was freaking out because I thought I had a tumor because I was like the pain was so bad that I was like, oh God, is this cancer? Because like it was literally like the pain was behind my eyeball where it felt like my head was like gonna explode. And
Yeah.
they were like, yeah, that's just a buildup of sinus pressure because you've had this infection for a while, yada yada. So this is like my third round of or my second round of antibiotics. I'm hoping it kicked this time, but yeah, that's the longest I've ever been sick with any one thing, and it's crazy because it's not something that I expect to be dealing with. I hope not again. But
Ryan was like, people live with this?
yeah, it's crazy. I was like, because I know friends who get really bad migraines and they have to take medication for it. Like they have, and it's just like, how on earth do people deal with this? Like, you
Yeah.
know,
It's funny because the first time we get some new kind of pain and stuff, we'll be like, dude, this is unbearable. But I feel like our body adapts so much because after that, it starts to get like, oh, it's that pain again, it's
yeah,
that kind of pain again.
yeah,
It's it's weird.
yeah. Whatever's the pain you're used to is the one that you're like, yeah, I'll take that over this. Like
Yeah.
well, I remember at some point when I was getting the migraine and I was like in bed and my wife was taking care of me and I was just like, man, I would rather be back in the ring boxing again with a 250-pound man trying to take my head off. I'd rather be doing that than dealing with this headache. Like I
Yeah.
hands down.
And I don't know about you, but usually when I'm feeling sick and having a new kind of pain, my wife comes and say, "Oh, don't be such a crybaby," and I'm like, "Dude, I'm dying. Stop it. I'm not being a crybaby." And
No.
it's funny because sometimes, like my wife has a heart condition that sometimes she like when she's standing, her heart starts to beat really really fast,
Oh man.
and sometimes she just falls into the ground. And this week that happened, but I held her before she felt, and I like
Whoa.
hit my knee with like it was a big impact. But it for me that I mean, when I was younger, I used it to do Muay Thai and skate and stuff. So I'm used to this kind of physical pains,
Yeah, yeah.
and I was like, dude, this didn't even hurt. But then I spent the next 3 days with like, oh, dude, my knee, it's hurting. Of
Damn.
course, I didn't tell her, but I mean, I gotta be brave. But dude, it's kind of funny because sometimes we are just used to some kind of pain, but actually it's like real bad. And if it was to another person, they would be like, dude, you're crazy, go take some meds right now for that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so no, my wife is very different. She likes to baby me when I'm sick, and I love it. Honestly,
That's
whenever
fair.
whenever one of us is sick, the other one's like, "Oh, let me just like do everything for you," and it's nice because it's like I pride myself on being like a provider and all that, but like when I'm feeling sick and she's like treating me like a baby, I'm like, oh hell yeah, this is great. I'm gonna
This is what I am talking about.
yeah, it's just like I'm gonna sit on my ass and watch cartoons. I'm gonna play Bloodborne for the 100th time. I'm gonna not shower and just stink up the whole house.
You know what? I never played Bloodborne. Never,
What?
even once. Yeah, yeah,
Mr. Dark Fantasy guy over here?
yeah. It's funny because since Bloodborne is a PlayStation exclusive, I never had a PlayStation 3.
Oh.
I am a PC gamer kind of guy. So I've been like for 10 years or so being wishful for Bloodborne to be adapted or ported to PC, but it seems it never gonna happen. So I feel like someday I'm gonna go grab a PlayStation 3, buy it, buy Bloodborne, play the game for like 200 hours, and then just shut it away and never touch it another time.
Well, usually,
Because
yeah. Sorry, go ahead and finish, please.
no, it's just that.
I was
It's
gonna
your
say
turn.
the Bloodborne is like one of those games that people who play it then end up playing it 100 times. Um, I'm amazed because you would absolutely love it. It is very
Yeah,
much
I
your
mean,
your type of thing.
I played like Dark Souls 1, 2, 3 for
Yeah.
like a lot of times. I think that's about 300 hours in Elden Ring. I
Oh yeah.
really love Sekiro. I love everything from Software, but I mean Bloodborne it's exclusive, and I was like, dude, I'm not wasting money on a PlayStation just to play one game. But looking back now, I think I should have.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Because
well, yeah. I get it.
everybody that I know, they be like, dude, Bloodborne is the best game ever.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably my favorite video game ever. Yeah, I think so.
Now I think that it there will be a spiritual successor for Switch 2, but I don't really like Nintendo. I think that their policies are like so rude with their customers. Like nowadays when you buy a game from Nintendo, you aren't actually buying it. You just buying kind of a license to play it. So probably I'll never play this new game too. So little by little, I'm getting handicapped when it comes to dark fantasy games. I feel so.
Yeah. Yeah. I honestly, Bloodborne is probably for me. It's pretty much what inspired Black Marrow. Like I don't think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was playing Bloodborne, and it was always a game that intimidated me. You know, because I was like I had never really played. It was my first FromSoft game that I ever played. Um, and I played it like it was only like 3 years ago that I played it for the first time. And it was like my introduction to FromSoft, and I had always liked that genre. Like I think my whole life, my favorite genre of like movie, comic book, video game, anything was always like demon hunter hero characters. Like I just like my Constantine is one of my favorite movies, and I always thought like Devil May Cry and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Vampire Hunter D, and then so I played Bloodborne, and at that point in my career, like I had a comic release that it went okay. It wasn't some incredible release. It did a little bit. And I told myself whatever I did next. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry that I'm blowing my nose on camera. I know it's gross.
Come on, people, don't feel aroused. I know Papa Ryan's nose is a cute and neat little nose, but yeah, stop it.
This is definitely somebody's kink right now. Is
Yeah, for sure.
somebody's googling man with hairy shoulders blowing his nose, and I'm coming up first.
Yeah.
Um, no, yeah, and I was just I remember telling myself at the time, this was 2 years ago, maybe no, maybe more. But I said like, whatever comic I do next, I'm gonna do something totally different. Like I'm not gonna obsess over a script for a long time. I'm gonna do the method I've always wanted to do, which is that I'm gonna draw the comic first and then do the script after.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And I just was like, yeah, I want to do something where it's just like a badass killing monsters, and I'll just give it a very simple story as I go. And then it was like probably the most successful thing I've done, and now it's like reset my career in a different direction. And that's just what happens sometimes when you just you shoot from the hip, as they say.
Yeah, and now that you are talking about it, it makes a lot of sense. Looking back, and the first time that I read your comic, the Black Mirror,
Yeah.
I was like, dude, this is fucking original. Well, I mean, sorry for this word.
Oh, you can curse. You can
Yeah,
you can curse all you like. It's okay.
it's freaking awesome and original. But looking back now, I mean, Bloodborne is pretty much people with long coats, holding big guns and doing amazing stuff with a lot of blood involved. But I really feel that even even though you got inspired by Bloodborne, it still feels like something that could be made only by you, because I feel like the conversations between Black Mirror and his crow and stuff like that, it tells so much about how you are and your personality. I think like these conversations and the way Black Mirror acts pretty much shows up how you are, how you portray yourself when you're doing streams and stuff. So even though it's heavily inflated by it, it still reads like really original stuff from Ryan, you know?
Oh, I really appreciate that. That's a really nice thing to say. But I'm gonna dig a little bit. I want to know what you mean though. Um, I'm curious what you mean that the way I write Black Mirror is reflective of me. I because someone else said that, and I actually never asked them what they meant by that. But now I'm really curious.
It's kind of fun because when it comes to listing the factors that do that, it's kind of hard to do that. But when we talk and when we spend time together in the streams and stuff, it really shows how you do your jokes and how you perceive the world around you, and like the conversations that you have in the comic, it kind of shows the kind of humor you have, and the you know, it's those small little characteristics that really tells it came from you. I can't really explain in detail how it makes me feel like that, but it really feels like it's yours. It's your kind of narrative and your kind of humor. And when you talk about when you were younger and really liked comics and stuff, the way you portray fights, like you were a boxer,
Oh
boxing
sure.
coach, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I think that everything adds up, and it really shows like, dude, this is done by Ryan. It can't be it wasn't done by anybody else.
Oh, then that's a really nice. I really appreciate that. That's a really cool thing to say. I mean, I'm really happy that it comes across, and I actually to that point I had a friend who's also a writer in comics, and so what I'm doing right now is I've been talking to some friends of mine who are other professionals in the industry, and I'm like been pitching something to them where I was like, hey, so like after I do maybe 4 or 5 Black Mirror books, what I want to do is a Christmas special where it's going to be like a Christmas, a Black Mirror Christmas, where it's going to be a series of short stories about that world and those characters, all kind of Christmas themed.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
Yeah.
have you ever read the Miss Lasagna from Dave or not?
What did Dave do? The
Miss Lasagna. It's
Miss Lasagna. Yes, I have. I haven't.
so it's
Yeah.
gonna be a Black Barrel for Christmas special. No, I'm just joking. I don't want to see Black Mirror with a top, but I had to make that joke.
Hey, listen, if it gets popular enough, you will see things like that, whether I want it or not. I can't stop
Yeah,
it.
Kink Black Mirror right now. Deliver it to my table.
Yeah, well, the Gigi, what's as a side thing, Gigi was joking with me that she's like writing Black Mirror erotic fiction, and she's like, yeah, it's like he kicks a monster and his boot flies off and reveals his toes. And so she just kept making some comments like that. I was like, I
Oh,
hate you.
that's why you send me so much feet pics,
That's what it
because
is. Yeah,
you are referencing it for Black Mirror. It
yeah.
makes a lot of sense.
Everybody's like, you know who draws the best feet? That guy. And they
Yeah.
talk about you. No, but I was gonna say is that so I was talking to a friend who's a writer about like the Black Mirror Christmas special, and I was like, it'd be great to have like a bunch of different writers and artists do their own little scripts and everything. And he was like, I don't know that I want to try to write Black Mirror. I was like, oh yeah, you don't think you would enjoy it? He's like, it's not that I wouldn't enjoy it. I just feel like if anybody other than you writes it, it's not going to feel good. It's not going to feel
Yeah,
correct.
it won't be Black Mirror,
Um,
pretty much.
and I was like, damn, I mean, that's cool, I guess, but it's also like, but then I was like, okay, maybe I can give people other characters in that world they can write, you know? Because
Yeah,
his point was basically like, there's a type of dialogue that you give Black Mirror that he's like, I don't know that, like, that's a very specific American language. And
yep.
I was like, that's probably, it's a result of me being like, in the city for a little bit of time, but then also in the country, like, and then it's just like a weird, it's a weird combination that makes people write a certain way. Like, I feel like a really good example is like, have you read Steve Lichman? Like, Dan?
Yeah, that what was I gonna say, because have you ever felt like you could write Steve Lichtman?
No.
Because the jokes that are there, it feels so much like Dave and Dan talking,
Yeah.
because they used it to do these streams like 7 or 8 years ago, and they were just doing jokes and jokes and jokes. And when I read Steve Lichtman, it's almost like it's Dave and Dan cosplaying as undead people and making the same jokes
It
all
is.
over again.
It is. And if yeah,
So I think it's kind of really difficult for anyone else to write it, and it's that special place that only they can do. It's the same thing about Black Mirror. The thing that you said about people doing something in the universe of Black Mirror with other characters and stuff, I
yeah,
think that could work. But people really writing Black Mirror shorts, it wouldn't feel like it really is Black Mirror.
yeah, yeah, I could see that being a problem. But I mean, yeah, because I was thinking about it. I was like, if Dave or if sorry, if Dan, he and I were talking about he was actually referencing in a stream that he was like, because in Steve Lichman they have all these characters pop up in the background, and he was joking. He's like, we could just put Black Mirror in the background of one of those pages, and I was like, oh, that'd be fun. And then I thought about like if I could do the reverse, and I was like, I could never produce anything like Steve Lichman. I just don't have that type of humor. Like, I just don't
Yeah,
like Dan has such a grasp of irony. Like, his humor is so there's something so dark about it.
I, when I started going to his streams for
Hmm.
the like first time or so, he used it to do some jokes aside the currently streaming stuff, and I was like, dude, is he talking seriously? Then I started to get the grasp of his humor, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's something really particular of him, the writing style of him.
yeah,
So yeah, it's really about that. I think that when we write or when we do our artwork and stuff, it really shows for the other people, for the public, how we grew up and what we like and what we don't like. I mean, I know there's those people that emulate artworks and art styles, but even then, even they we can kind of see their particular taste in their artwork. It's kind of it's something like almost spiritual. It's hard to describe about it, but you know what I mean. When you see it, you'll be like, oh, like there's this character that is really famous, Hatsune Miku,
hmm
and people from all over the world draws her because she's like really really popular. But you always notice when it's the same artist drawing, and there's some little characteristics and details that kind of tells you this was done by that person, this was done by that another person, you know.
yeah,
It's kind of it's weird, but it's the truth. It's weird, but it's real.
yeah. No, it's it's interesting too because you never know what makes a character like explode like that.
Yeah.
But I've been trying to learn more about anime because I grew up really interested in anime, and then my mom wouldn't let me watch it because she didn't realize how much boobs and carnage there was. Um, and now
Yeah.
that I'm a grown man, I can watch all the boobs and carnage that I want.
Oh
Um,
no, Mama, you can't say anything else. I'm a grown man and I'm gonna watch my anime.
yeah, like I remember my mom, she rented Ninja Scroll for me from Blockbuster,
Yeah.
and she had no idea that Ninja Scroll was like. Have you seen it? It is just
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
is
too.
pure sex and violence for like 90 minutes, and it's just like she thought it was going to be like Transformers or just like the American cartoons, and she walks in on when I'm watching it, and it's literally like a deeply graphic a
Yeah.
deeply graphic sex scene followed by a scene where a guy is getting chopped in half by a monster and like blood squirts everywhere, and she was like, what the fuck is this? And she just like took it, and I was like, no, 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 it's, I promise I'm watching it for the art because I like
It's fun, Mom, I swear.
and then it's
Uh,
like now I'm an adult, and I'm like, I was able to watch it as an adult, and I was like, wow, if my kid was watching this, I'd be like, no, no, son, you can't
I
watch.
know, right? Like
Yeah.
when when I started to notice those kind of things, it was like in 5 years or so. Because when I was young, my mom and dad, they didn't care too much about what I was watching, as long as it was animated, as long as it wasn't
Hmm.
an horror movie or something like that.
Yeah.
So I kind of used that in my favor to watch the like Vampire D and
Yeah.
Alucard and all those kind of dark horror animes. And dude, there was so much blood, and like it was when I started to think about it, I started to think like, dude, how come I didn't turn out to be a psychopath? Because I used to enjoy so much watching people get beheaded or like splurts of blood all over the screen, and I was like a happy little kid being like, "Oh, this is fine. I want to be like that when I grow up."
Yeah. Well, I get that, and I think this is just my take. I think that nihilism, and this is like a really easy window into why I am the way I am with my comics, is I think nihilism is much more damaging than violence to kids.
Yeah,
So I
I
think
think so too.
you get where I'm going with this. Like it's just
Yeah,
like I think kids can, because kids intrinsically understand usually that what they're watching is fiction. Like that's why when you get obnoxious questions from super fan, like there was a great video of a comic convention where Grant Morrison, who's a comic book writer, he worked on a lot of Superman stuff. He's at doing some, some panel, and this fan comes up to the microphone. He's like, "Excuse me, sir. According to your, I'm being mean, but that's kind of like how I thought of this guy because of his question. He's like, your timeline for Superman doesn't quite make sense because you say he's 28, but here he appears to be 31. How can both of those be true if this time, And Grant Morrison just shrugged, and he was like, the real difference between adults and kids is people always say, because you can tell Grant Morrison was just like not having it. He
yeah.
said, people always say kids don't know what fiction is versus reality, and being an adult is knowing. He's like, but the opposite is true. He's like, because kids never ask me that question because they just get it. They just understand that it's not important if the timeline doesn't quite make sense, because in the end, Superman has been the same age for like 100 years. So like he's like, he's like, I don't really have an answer to your question because he's like the continuity gets messed up sometimes, but the point is the character and the story, and so like the reason I bring that up is because I think kids do understand that the violence they're seeing in a cartoon is not real, but
Yeah.
nihilism, I think the message of nihilism of like if you make a kid feel like nothing matters, I think that actually is more damaging than just like bloody monsters and stuff. So
It kind of makes them lose hope
yeah,
and
yeah,
start to think like, oh, if everything doesn't matter, what I do doesn't matter. So they start to get in that nebulous area where they don't think if doing something bad is really bad.
yeah,
So and it's never about doing bad stuff to other people. I think genuinely that kids are kind of good-hearted,
hmm,
but they start to do bad stuff towards themselves,
yeah,
because they start to be like, dude, this is affecting only me and nobody cares, and it snowballs into some people getting like really messed up in their heads when they are a little bit older, because they start to get in those teenage years and hormones start to kick in, and
Totally.
it's really hard. And when it comes to violence, even though there's some animations here and there that doesn't have that kind of moral message of being a good guy, and whatever, but almost every animation has a little bit of, oh, you're violent and there's consequences. So
Hmm.
I think that as long as children get exposed to that and see that there's consequences, and there's this bad guy and there's this good guy, as long as they have like polar opposites, it works. It doesn't really matter if there's like guts spilled in the screen, as long as they know that this isn't a good thing to do. And
Yeah.
it works that way.
Yeah.
But when it comes to nihilism, it's kind of a little bit, it goes under their skin. They start to doubt things, and they start to perceive the world in a different manner,
Yeah.
and it can really hurt.
Yeah, I think I agree. I mean, like I've never raised kids, but I agree that kids entertainment, for example, if you're going to put messaging in there, make it very clear. Like
Yeah,
you can't, there's too much like you ever watch Community, that sitcom?
yeah, yeah.
There's that.
I love it.
Oh, I'm a big fan of Community. I love it. And there's a great episode where they're doing the GI Joe episode where everyone is a cartoon,
Yeah.
and there's a scene where they're trying to do, those old GI Joe like little segments where they'd be like, "Don't do drugs, kids," and they're like, "GI Joe."
Yeah.
They're trying to do one, but Britta, she comes in and she's very political, so she's like, well, actually, kids, graffiti is not really a crime, and if you go, and and she's like, you can't trust anybody, you can't trust the authority, and then like Abed steps in and he's like, no, 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 he's like, you can't hit kids with this much complex. He's like, as a cartoon, he's like, you can't hit kids with this much complexity because you got to give them very clear moral messaging so that you can build off that later. He's like, otherwise you create people who just don't know what to do and they're anxious all the time. He's like, stop doing
Yeah,
that.
exactly,
Um,
exactly. And I really feel like it. I believe that so much because, uh, when we are kids, if things aren't clear, we start to overthink everything.
yeah.
I mean, I have ADHD, so it's kind of harder for me to not overthink anything. But I really feel like, I mean, I have six brothers. I have five of them are younger, and I saw them grow up. And I really think that every time that something felt a little bit ambiguous, or it was too much information for them, they spent like weeks or so really thinking about that, and they never came to any conclusions. You start to really
Oh
mess
yeah.
with their heads. So it's better. It's really better to say something, even if it is, oh, things are like this because they are. It's better to do this kind of acting with the kids instead of, no, things are like this because when that happened, but when
Yeah.
that another thing happened, because it gets messy in their heads.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, like, I feel like people need to like get a grasp on basic morality before you start to introduce like subjective morality. It's like
Yeah,
first we have to know it's wrong to hurt other people, and then we can have a discussion about what actually hurts people or doesn't hurt them. But you can't start with a semantic of like, oh, this hurts. It's just like, that's just crazy. Like, it's like this kid's like 7. Like, just tell them, be nice to people, don't do drugs, be home for dinner, and don't talk to strangers, and that's it. And like, let them be kids.
yeah. Exactly. Even because I feel like nowadays people don't let kids get to know things by themselves. It's almost like everything there's a video for that or an explanation for that, and kids start to lose that curiosity of the
Yeah.
world because everything has an answer. I remember that when I was young, I like really really young, like 7 years or so. I had such big theories in my head, and I was like, dude, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they do exist. I will look into every corner and I will find them. I am sure. And little by little, I started to get to know that no, that little rat, it's infectious. It's not Splinter. So I
Yeah.
feel like there's this bubble that won't let kids be kids anymore. So they kind of they really grow fast in a manner of starting to perceive the world as an adult, but they kind of lose that curiosity and creativity of like really being a kid, you know.
Yeah, completely. I agree. It's yeah, it's a big thing too. It's like I was because I'm thinking about this stuff now because we're trying to hopefully start a family soon. Me and my wife and
Oh, that's amazing,
oh,
man.
thank you. Yeah, we're we're looking down the barrel of doing that as soon as we can, and so we're talking about like how do you want to like what kind of parent do you want to be, and like the thing that I was saying was like I know what kind of parent I don't want to be, and like something I like for example my dad was talking about this a while ago when he was on a plane and he was watching this mother with her little like a son who's a toddler, and every few seconds she was like pointing at different stuff like, "Ooh, what's this?" like quizzing him like, "What's this? What's this? What's and she kept like every time he was looking away at something else she would distract him and be like, "What's this?" like trying when you try to get you try to get the kid to name objects or whatever, and he was like my dad was just
Yeah.
enraged by it because he was like, "Let your kid be in their head for a little bit."
Yep.
Like let them just think about what they'd stop trying to constantly stimulate them, like let their thoughts drift, let them and it made me laugh because I was like, oh, because I was a kid who like had his head in the clouds all day, so I mean that makes sense.
Yeah,
um,
exactly. Exactly.
but yeah, I don't want to be one of those parents that's like constantly on his kid's ass about everything. Like I just want him to like um, make weird decisions. You know what I mean? I want him to
Yeah,
like
it's a big part of this stuff, like doing weird decisions. Because if kids don't make decisions by themselves and get to know that, like, dude, I got a rat and it isn't a Splinter and I got bit by it. If they don't do that by themselves, they'll grow up with like this kind of a concept in their mind that things are just like there's just only one way to be and to feel like about those stuff.
yeah.
A kid should discover the world by themselves, you know.
It's so funny that you chose that example. Yeah. What
Is
did I
this
learn
real?
today?
Maybe.
What I learned today, I learned that the rat is not Splinter. It's just a
Yeah,
rat and it bit me.
yeah,
It's a
exactly.
great it's a great story. I love that. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, do you
Because
think you'll ever be a parent? Is that something that's interesting to you or no?
no, no, I think that I already have too much to handle with my cats, and my
Sure.
wife feel the same.
Yeah.
When we started to go out like 7 years ago, we talked about that like in our third or fourth date,
Mm.
because I really grew up not wanting to have kids because I had so much family problems, and I have like the HDHD, bipolar stuff, and
Yeah.
such, and I didn't want to pass it on. And my wife has those conditions, the heart condition, and some psychological conditions too. So we talked about it, and we both agreed that we wouldn't have children.
Yeah.
If someday we kind of decide that, oh, we were wrong, we're gonna have children, we'll probably adopt,
Yeah.
because we really feel like there's a lot of children out there that could have some love, that need to have some love. So I feel like this is the better way to do, to go,
Yeah,
you know.
sure. No, I think that's a really good way of looking at it. And there's kids that need families, so
Yep.
um and it does answer some of your concerns about passing on conditions and stuff.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. I feel like it's
yeah.
a win-win situation
Yeah.
because we'll be better established financially speaking, and we won't pass those weird things up, and we'll probably make the life of someone be like, uh, we will change the life of someone, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And then for me, it's like my specific exclusive purpose is to pass on all of my weird conditions to a child. So
I mean, they gotta have good feet, right?
thank God,
We
thank
need
God, thank God they have good
in
feet.
50 years or so, we gotta need new pics of other people feet, you know.
Well, you know what's a really funny? I love this is like I don't know if you ever listened to Louis C.K. Years ago, but he had this amazing bit about porn. Oh, I guess I shouldn't say porn on YouTube because they'll mess up my video. About prawn,
About
about corn, he said, or whatever,
yeah, about
whatever.
corn, right?
It's literally what people are saying. That people say corn now, which is really funny. But yeah, about corn, and he's saying he's like, I think we just have enough of it. Like, we don't have to make any more of it. There's so much of it that we could just stop and we would still never see all of the corn that was made. He's
Yeah.
like, if somebody types in A, they're going to see all of the ass related stuff for the rest of their life and they would never even reach the letter B because there's so much of it. And that always made me laugh because I was like, yeah, like the human race, like the minute we had the internet, we just made so much nasty stuff. And like we all thought it was going to be like, we all thought
And
it,
then
yeah, go ahead.
and then someone raised his hand and said, "Is that a challenge to watch all corn in the world?"
And that
Dare me! I dare you to dare me!
and that man was never seen again.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I'm drawing Black Marrow's hat, and I can't stop thinking about. Did you see on the Discord Nim? She did the her
Yeah,
cosplay,
I saw that. Man, that
dude.
looks so freaking amazing. Nim,
It's
if you're hearing this, dude, you are so talented,
yeah,
and that cosplay is looking so freaking well. I mean, I remember reading that she said that two girls stopped at her and asked her if she wanted to have some drinks. So she knows it's successful. But dude, really, it really looks amazing.
yeah.
And I
It's
go to a lot of conventions. I see a lot of cosplays. I have some, I have some weight talking about that.
yeah.
It's really really
You
good.
know what you're talking about because you see a ton of
Yeah.
cosplay. Yeah, I was Nim. If you're, I know she's watching because she was in the chat earlier. And she's probably still there. Um, all I see is that Johnny deleted like 5 messages. I don't know what they were about. He must have said something weird, but yeah, and like I was showing it to my wife, and I was like, I cannot believe that I have anyone cosplaying as my characters, but that like she absolutely like she created Black Marrow's hat, she created his gun. Like it looks like she made it from scratch too. She like molded it so it looks like she like analyzed the way I drew it in the comic to make sure it was like lore accurate. It's just crazy how much work that must have taken.
And the gun too, dude. The gun, the revolver. It's so amazing. I mean, if I had one, I would stick it to my wall and I will look it every day and be like, dude, this is a mother. It's a
Yeah.
mother hustling mother, not mother. What? It's a mother hustling gun.
No, it's like, dude, even I know, and there's things I noticed since I would like, I know what she's referencing. She's doing like deep references. Like if you look at the gun, she gave the tip of the barrel is like slightly orange. And I think people looking at it might think that she's doing that so that people know it's not real, like it's a signal that it's a toy. But she's doing that, I think, because in Black Marrow Book 1, there's a couple of scenes, one in particular, where he fires the gun and the barrel is still glowing hot afterwards. And literally Nim is like referencing like a specific panel from Book 1. And I was just like, my goodness, this is like, it's just so rad. I was just like, I can't wait. I hope Nim, I hope I get to meet you in person at a con one day. My wife has been telling me I should do conventions,
You
um,
should.
and I should
You're
figure.
gonna get rich, man.
Nah, nah, I don't think I'm gonna get rich. I
Gotta
might.
support that baby, you know.
um, yeah, well, I would honestly. The main reason I'd love to do it is because there's people I know who have been saying they would love to meet. And it'd be really cool to meet some of the people who are fans of the first book, and like maybe even just meet people who know me from the chats, and who catch my streams. And the only person I've met from my streams other than Dan in person is do you know Radiante? You know Radiante, right? From Dan's stream, maybe, I don't know.
Do I don't remember.
Okay.
I am not a regular at Dan's stream because he streams so much.
Yeah.
So I always feel like I'm a stranger when I hop
Yeah,
in.
I mean, he's one of like my close friends, and even I don't catch all of his streams. I hop in for like
Yeah,
a minute, and I go, "Hey, what's up?" And then I leave because it's like he's going to be streaming for like
and
nine
it's all
hours.
day long. Yeah, it's like really hard to keep up.
He has a very different streaming style. Like I stream for like an hour or two, and it's kind of like a sprint where I never shut my goddamn mouth. And then he'll stream for like 6 hours and say one word sometimes, just because he's like really focused on what he's doing. Um, but I'm a people pleaser. I'm like, everybody who comes in, I want to acknowledge them. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, that's like the only person I met from the streams other than Dan. It's been Radiante, and I actually invited her to my wedding, and
Oh, that's awesome.
it was I still laugh. I regularly laugh when I think about what it was like meeting her because she was so hilariously like uncouth. I think I talked about this on the stream before that when she met me, she just yelled. She was like, "Oh my god, you're huge!"
Yeah.
I was like, "What?" She's like, "Nobody prepared me for how big you are. You're like huge. You're like a giant man." I was like, "Oh," I was like, "Not really." I was like, I was like,
Sasquatch Ryan
yeah.
confirmed
I mean, I
it.
think I guess this is like I looked big in my tux in my my suit for the wedding, but I was like,
Yeah.
there's bigger people out there, you know that, right? Like, but I mean, she's like in Europe half the time. I was like, there's bigger guys out there, I'm sure, but I guess
Yeah.
they don't have my Sasquatch proportions. But
I mean, I think that even when people aren't that huge, their personality kind of helps it. So sometimes I feel like I meet with some persons that are like, I don't know, like 6 foot tall, and they really don't feel like that because they get like that hunched posture
yeah,
and they are a bit shy. But you are so easygoing, and like you said, people think that you are an extrovert, that I believe that when people meet you, they be like, dude, dude, he's huge. A huge Ryan's coming.
well, yeah, because I would get those comments all the time. Like when I had my first comic book come out, I was at a convention and somebody wanted it signed, and they bought it was this was before Black Mirror. This is when I was doing Westique, and this guy met me at the convention for a signing, and he was like, "Whoa, you're like way bigger than I thought you'd be." And I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" He was just like, "I don't know, man. You just look like a power lifter. I expected you to be kind of like a nerdy guy." And I was like, "All right, well, I'm both of those things. I'm not."
Ryan be like, dude, don't you watch the streams?
Don't you see me hovering over my
Yeah.
desk and driving in my car by dragging
Don't
my
you see
knuckles?
the size of the pen in my hand? It looks like a fucking needle.
So I'm holding it like a butcher knife. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, no, it'd be cool to it'd be cool to meet you at some point. I know you're on like another the other side of the planet, kind of, but
Yeah, but I really feel like if things keep going up the pace they are, probably in like 5 years or so, I'll try to do a convention in the States and Canada and stuff, because there's already some people going to me in my DMs and be like, "Dude, you're gonna hit this convention," and I'm like, "Dude, I am in Brazil. It's it's hard for me,"
yeah,
but I really believe that. It's possible to do conventions in other countries. So as soon as possible, I'll be in the States and I will tell you and we'll meet and I will see that beautiful feet with my own eyes in person. Those beautiful, huge feet,
yeah.
right?
I'm gonna put them up on the desk to lure people in. So.
Yeah.
Well, I've been kind of at conventions when I did one. I kind of used my wife to bait people in because she's a very pretty woman, and I was just like, I had her at the desk, and I think some people came to the desk, the table to like talk to her because she's she's cute, and I was just like, I didn't realize till afterwards that that's like half of the people that were coming to the table was like, oh, I'm at an anime convention and there's a cute lady by herself just sitting there. I was like, oh yeah, and then
This is once in a lifetime chance.
and then I step in with my like my bo and my beard filled with canola oil, and they're like, oh, never mind, I gotta go. But yeah,
Yeah,
but I wanted to
it's
ask
funny
you.
because
Sorry, go ahead.
sometimes people come to my table, my booth,
Uh huh.
and it's my wife doing the
Yeah.
customer service, and they be like, "Oh, look, this cute little girl," and then I show up, and they instantly go out. It's funny because it almost feels like I scared them. I feel like, dude, I'm scaring all the customers, and my wife be like, "No, he was just a weirdo trying to make contact here.
Is it? Do you have a big beard?
I used it to have. Now I am with just a mustache.
Ah, okay. I pictured you with a beard. Maybe it's because of your profile pic.
Yeah, I used it to have like a really big beard, but I started to have like problems
Mm.
because I don't remember the word in English, but I really have to get my beard off or it starts to get like really itchy and red, and so I stopped using it. But for like my 18 years to 28 years, I use it to have a beard big as Dan, like.
Oh, I don't know. To be as big as Dan's beard, you have to sign a waiver. It's crazy.
Yeah, but I had my beard grow like for 4 years or so, so it was
Yeah.
like really big.
I keep thinking of ways where I could trick into shaving his beard. And he's like he'll never do it, I'm sure. But I was like, okay, if if I ever sell the movie rights to anything I'm working on, I will pay you $20,000 to shave your beard. Like it's just just so I can see what's under there. And he won't even let me see like pictures of him before he grew his beard. So I'm assuming he's got. I don't know what you picture with Dan, but I picture like a chin butt. Like underneath that, he's got a cleft.
Yeah, definitely. He gonna have like three layers of chin,
You think so?
probably.
I don't know because he's
Yeah.
he's a, he's a good looking guy, so I imagine he's like
He
surprisingly square
is,
jawed.
but normally people who have like really long beards, they really don't have a square jaw. It's like my wife uses to say that the beard for the man are the man makeup, you know. So I
That's
definitely
true.
think it's kind of he probably don't have a square jaw.
Well, what's funny is this though is that you said the beard is the man's makeup, but like the irony is that makeup is like it requires work, and the beard requires that you do less and not more.
He requires patience.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it does. I actually find growing a beard to be hard work because it gets itchy as hell at some point in the middle.
Yeah.
Yours doesn't itch though, right? You probably take care of it at this point. Well, you don't have it anymore, but when you did, you probably figured out how to keep it from getting itchy.
I use it to wash it alongside my hair. So I would use a special made shampoo for beards and stuff. So it really helped it. But if you start to not take care of it, like in 2 days or so, it gets so gross
Yeah.
and so itchy. So I believe that when people look at bearded men and they start to be like, oh, this guy doesn't care about his visuals and stuff, but actually it's the opposite. Normally people who have long beards will be so careful with their own looks because it takes so much work to get a huge beard and get it to really doesn't to not smell and stuff like that. You really have to take care. I feel like it takes a lot more care than growing your hair.
Yeah, I think I learned that the hard way because when I grew it out a few years ago, and it was like, hell yeah, I got a beard now, and I grow it out every few years, and when I grew it out, one thing, it was way more gray than I thought it would be. I'm always shocked by that. It was like I was maybe 35, 34 at the time when I grew it out, and it was like I instantly looked about like 50 years old. Um, and my wife, who at the time was my girlfriend, she was like kind of not into it. So she was like, I don't know. She's like, I just feel like you already have a big chin. You don't need a beard. You have like a big cartoon chin. You know, like the beard just makes your face bigger. Your face is already really big. You don't need like more layers of size on your head. Like your head is enormous. Um, so I shaved it, and after I shaved it, I looked like I was 14 years old. I just looked like a giant child.
It's weird. It's really
Yeah,
weird when we get the beard off because it you look so different,
yeah,
and it was hard for me to get used to not having a beard anymore, especially after growing it for like 10 years or so.
yeah.
But I feel like it's much more conception that we have that than other people have.
Yeah. I mean, do you have long hair with the mustache? I'm trying to picture.
No, no, I used it to have long hair too, but now I look like a regular human.
Oh, because like, okay,
I,
I'm gonna be honest with you. What I was imagining, what I always picture with you, because I've never seen a picture of you that wasn't like painted over. You know, when you do your thing. I was imagining you basically looking like Vlad the Impaler, like old.
yeah, I don't think it holds truth, but
Okay,
maybe a little bit closer. It was. If you look at me when I was angry, maybe.
when I was angry.
But you know, I
Sure.
used it to stream like 2 years ago or so. So I have some internet images of me with long hair and long beard.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I just in my head it was Dracula. It was like, and I mean that as a compliment. Like I just figured like that would be a look that would go well
How
with you.
come this Dracula dude is doing like beautiful anime kids right now?
Oh, dude, I've been so. I wanted to. Sorry, we haven't been talking about art at all, guys. I apologize. The chat. I hope they're not annoyed that we're like talking about everything except our jobs. But I the work you've been doing lately, dude. I've been loving it. It's a lot of people don't find it that easy to transition from painting to like line art, and you seem to be making a pretty smooth transition.
Yeah, to be honest, I really struggle with it. I still struggle. Like it's been a year or so, but I try to have that kind of mindset that the process doesn't matter. I don't need to like really be doing the process like another person should. So sometimes I'll even paint stuff and then turn opacity down and do the line art above it. So it I really don't feel like it was a huge overcoming of stuff. It's just that I'm doing what I use it to do, but referencing other stuff. You know,
Yeah, of
it's
course.
kind of almost the same process, but I put some layers of uh, uh, new stuff above it, and it comes out as different or work. But actually, it's not that different.
Oh, that's interesting. So like your approach. So you've been doing it like a painting, and then you said you then lower the opacity and you do your line work over that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so the exact
And
opposite of what I'm doing essentially.
when I use the Krita for the sketch, mostly I will use the Chrome thing to really make a gestural sketch.
Yeah.
Then I will polish it a little bit with the Chrome Large, and then I'll take it to Photoshop and do the line art above it and start the flat coloring and stuff. So pretty much the first third of the process is like the usual. It's the same thing I use it to do. And then after that, it's pretty much rendering and polishing. So it's kind of brainless work, you know.
Yeah, I mean, so anyone who's wondering, anybody who watches this after the fact or anyone in the stream, I've um, I've linked his Instagram in the video description. You should check out some of Guy's work. It's really cool. He's got like a style that I feel like I can spot from across the room. You know, I can just tell when it's his work.
That's
Um,
awesome to hear because I really strive to do so.
yeah, no, it's great. It's like I've been. I mean, I actually really liked your paintings too, but I feel like um, now that it seems like you're making a conscious choice to move into a different field of it, I guess because you said it's been really lucrative for you.
Yeah, I mean, I still like doing dark fantasy stuff and so on, but I feel like it entered a realm of being a hobby because after all, it takes like so much time to do those heavy-handed painterly few
Hmm.
illustrations, and to be honest, in the conventions they don't sell quite well. I mean, there always this guy will came up and say, "Dude, you're so good and your art so awesome," and they will like spend 10 to 15 minutes talking with me about how good my art is, and then they will leave without purchasing anything.
Oh
And
yeah,
when it comes to anime, people usually don't even talk; they just grab it and say, "Oh, awesome! I'm gonna take that." So it's a bit uh, how can I say it? It's a commercial decision, but I started enjoying to do so because I grew up watching anime. I'm a heavy manga reader. I read manga every day, much more than comics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I feel like when I started doing illustrations and stuff, I was influenced by the market. Everywhere that I looked, it felt like if I didn't do realistic stuff, I wouldn't get any jobs. And I used it to play Magic the Gathering and stuff, but wasn't I wasn't really like a big fan of that. So when I look back, I really feel that the commercial decision was already being made like 5 years ago or so. When I did dark fantasy stuff, I was being money hungry too, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of I feel like what I really enjoy is honing my skills. It doesn't matter the genre.
Yeah.
So as long as I'm having fun with the process and it's kind of difficult to do stuff and I feel like I'm growing out, it doesn't matter. It's really fun. The thing that I avoid most is falling into comfort zones
Yeah.
because I really don't feel like spending time doing the same thing over and over again. If I'm gonna use my free time to do the same thing I did yesterday, I would rather watch a movie or play a game, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you and you do this full time, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
And
I mean, sometimes no, nowadays it isn't happening anymore. But I use it to do a lot of side hustles to have money when work was like scarce. But nowadays it's full time mostly.
that's great, man. Do you prefer that to working at a and to having like, because I know that you had some studio work in the past, and now you're like doing this.
Yeah,
So yeah, do you prefer
I feel
this?
like it's I wouldn't say I prefer it. It's just that it's really fun doing that because it's new to me.
Yeah.
You know, it comes up with that comfort zone thing. Think that I started getting lazy with studio jobs and stuff because it was kind of always the same stuff. Like, oh, draw on a werewolf. Oh, do this huge tree with eyes,
Yeah.
and I really felt that I wasn't like improving. I feel like from 2022 to last year, I didn't improve at all. But as I switched style and started tackling different perspectives
Mm-hmm.
and colors too, because now my work is heavily color and
Yeah.
stuff, it it branched off into so many new things, and I really like knowing a little bit about everything. I really feel like I'm those kind of persons that uh, can't go into detail in any topic, but can talk about any topic.
Mm-hmm.
So it feels a little bit like this because I'm discovering color theories and I'm discovering camera positionings. You know,
Yeah.
it's almost a selfish tackle on art because I mean it sells well and it's getting me good results, but after all it's all about I feel like I'm improving and I feel like I one day I'll become one really good drawer or painter and stuff. And that is the feeling that fuels me, you know.
Yeah. That's awesome. I mean, I think you're already. I mean, I don't say this
Top
lightly.
line.
What'd you say?
Top line.
No, no. This is. I don't like. I'll tell people a lot of things to make them feel good about themselves. I don't fuck around with art. I don't fuck around with like you can draw. And I'll tell you right now, I think you're very, very good. Like I don't. You don't need my. You don't need to hear it from me because like who the fuck am I? But like, pardon my French.
No, you.
Um.
I mean, that really, it's really special for me to hear that because I really think that you are an amazing artist, and not only in the drawing aspect, but with the storytelling and the composition. So I really look up to you. You know, I when I started calling you Papa as a joke, it's a joke, of course, but it has like this little sparkly thing about I look at you and I look at Dave and at Dan, and you guys are like what I wish to be someday, you know. I really feel like you guys are such good skilled art workers, you know. So when you say that to me, it's I mean, it fills my heart with that sensation of, dude, I'm doing things right, because it really validates what I am trying to do, you know.
Oh man, that's a. I mean, this is the portion of the big draw where people just
Don't cry,
we
don't cry.
we just we just sit around making out and talking about how much we love each other. But no, yeah, that's a very nice thing to say. It's very flattering to put me on the level of those two guys because um I mean it's also different. It's like I don't always know how to compare my art to someone like Dan's, you know, because it's like artists people don't talk about it very much, but artists we can be kind of competitive. Like we look at each other's
Yeah,
work and
for
we
sure.
and with someone like Dan, I don't feel that competition because our work is so different.
Yeah.
You know, he
I
is like
mean,
a
if you
painter.
don't zoom in and spend like the next hour doing details of these tentacles, you aren't them. Because his work is so heavily detailed. Sometimes I catch up to his streams and he's like really, really, really zoomed in and polishing stuff. And when he zooms out, I'm like, dude, have you spent like the last 2 months on this?
Yeah.
Because it's so much heavy work. But to each their own, you know.
No, well,
I feel
he's sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but he's
no,
actually
it's okay.
you would find this interesting. He has talked about that as a goal that he has. You probably maybe well maybe if you're not catching his streams, but when he's been on the big draw, he's talked to me about it where he's like he's actually consciously working on being a little faster. He's trying to he's like he's going to make it he basically what his and you'll find this interesting as someone yourself who has a foot in both camps of painting and line art. He's
Yep.
basically been saying that he probably needs to do more drawing than painting because of the fact that he feels like he's been doing so much painting for so long that his drawing ability has like maybe he feels like he's not as comfortable drawing and that's why his work is so slow because
Mm,
he's like drawing is the foundation off of which you build painting and he was just saying like he's like I can't he was joking he was like I can't really call myself a professional illustrator if I do like 2 pieces a year because it takes me so long. He's like, I just can't do it. So he has this whole thing that he's been talking about where he wants to take, once he finishes a few painting projects he wanted to take time off and just focus on pencil drawing again
yeah.
and
I
focus.
think that Dave did that. I believe that when he started writing and drawing Steve Leishman, he felt like he was such a bad drawer.
Yeah.
Like I remember he talking that everything that he tried to draw was like such a struggle that he decided that, dude, stop, I will stop painting and I will spend the next amount of time that is necessary to be good drawing,
Yeah.
be good at drawing. And man, nowadays you look at him and he does like huge paintings in like
Yeah.
hours. It's almost feels like unreachable
Yeah.
because it's so fast.
Yeah, and I think that's he was telling from what I understand, according to Dan, that Dave was telling Dan that he was like, you know, if you want to get faster, just focus on drawing for a bit, and your general painting speed will absolutely pick up.
Yeah.
Because and like so, I was because Dan and I when I went to Massachusetts to have dinner with him, and we were just talking about what you know our projects and everything, and I haven't shown that much of it, but I've been painting a little bit on the side, doing like full illustrations and I'm not so confident in them because I don't feel like they're at a good level because I'm not really a painter by trade. I'm more of a line art guy. But I've shown it to a few people in the you know.
No, I'm Line Arch guy. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, I stand corrected. There's only one guy here, and it's you. I apologize.
It's me.
His name is copyrighted. Um, yeah, and I was just like, you know, like that's not usually my field. But then I showed the painting to the paintings I've been doing to a few professionals that I know, and they're like, you could totally be doing this also if you want. Like, you could probably get work doing this. And the reason that he said that I probably was learning quickly, Dan said, was that like the fact that I have such a foundation in drawing, like I do so much
Yeah.
drawing, like so much drawing that painting is kind
Yeah,
of
I
like, you
mean,
know,
you are really, really fast. It you come up with pages so fast that it's. I really feel like, as when I see Dave painting and doing stuff, he's real fast. But when it comes to you, I believe that you are the same speed, but with a different set of skills. Because, dude, I've seen you do. I mean, I'm a regular at your streams,
yeah,
and I've seen you come up with such huge stuff in such a short time, because I did like a comic or two as a freelance work, and it took me so much time to deliver like 3 or 4 pages. I remember that the dudes used it to pay me like for 5 pages each month, and there was some months that I was like, dude, I can only deliver 3 pages. Is that okay? And I believe that you can do 5 pages in a week, and you probably will take the weekend off. So yeah, I
Oh
really
man.
believe that drawing is the foundation,
Yeah,
because
it
when I
is.
started to tackle drawing more, I started to get like faster too. But then I started to kind of raise the bar and trying. I started to try like really difficult perspectives, and then my drawing pace slowed down a little bit again.
Yeah.
So it's kind of this juggling act of like learning to draw and pushing myself to learn to draw better, and then being faster, and so goes on.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, and I it is, I will admit, I a huge advantage that I've had is that I'm fast because I feel like people are more likely to hire me because I poop it out so quickly. Like I remember and there's artists, like I've said this before, there's artists who are at my level in the field who are, their work is prettier than mine, but like I think the fact that I can get it done so quickly means I'm always like like, and this is not me, you know, flexing. This is just like to create a realistic expectation for anybody in the chat that wants to be a comic artist or that's interested in it. So I get about 12 to 13 pages of art done during the week, Monday to Friday.
Dude.
Um,
Like what?
yeah, I don't know what it is, and like people have asked me like how to get fast, and I don't know what to tell them because it's just one of those things that I don't know. Like everybody has their own, you know, some people like are born, not born, but they're like they have a weird propensity for drawing hands, like they're really good at it. And some people, and I've always just been, even when I was a kid, I was just really fast when I drew, and I think it's because of, maybe it's my ADHD where I don't, my hand doesn't stop moving until it's done. um but I think it's just fast composition and stuff. And yeah, like, so like the reason I do that is because, you know, there's people who work for Marvel and DC and stuff who make like a lot of money per page, and I make a decent amount of money per page, but I'm at a much lower level. So in order to make a comparable income, I have to draw really fast because I have to get a lot of gigs done to collect the paychecks. And then it's
Yeah.
like you know, on top of that, I want to work on my projects like Black Marrow, and nobody's paying me a page rate for that. That's just like the money is going to be down the road when I do the Kickstarter. So then it's like, if I want to work on it and if I want it to get done, if I want this, you know, this is your dream, it's like, okay, that means I got to get, you know, 10 pages of art done to get paid, and then I got to get another 3 done for the long-term project, which is this thing, you know. And
And it's funny because I know a lot of people would get like exhausted from doing like 3 or 4 paintings in a week. And then you say like that you do 30 pages per week, and then you do your personal stuff too. It's like, dude, the amount of resilience, it can be, it's like over, it's above almost everyone that I know. Really,
yeah.
it's really, really like, if I were, from now on, I'll call you Speedy Ryan, because you know it's too much, dude.
It is, I know it's weird. It's a weird thing because I've been doing this professionally since I was 26, and I, even the other professionals I know have been like, I don't know how you put out so much work in like a short amount of time. And I was like, I don't really know what it is either because I don't realize it, but like I have a weird thing, but like my big problem is that I need to know when to stop sometimes. You know, because like when I was a bachelor
Yep.
living alone, I would just like, okay, I'm gonna draw for 7 hours straight, and then I'm gonna get up to eat dinner, maybe go for a run at night, and then like work a little bit before bed, and no one's gonna stop me because I live alone. But now I'm married and stuff, and like, you know, it'll be a Thursday night, and I've been drawing for like 6 hours after I brought her home from work, and I was drawing 6 hours before I picked her up, you know, and so it's like, she's like, honey, you need to stop. She's like,
Yep.
you need to come to bed. Like, you need to like take a break come with me, like watch a movie with me, like let's cuddle, let's talk about our day. And I'll be like, oh, right, of course, I have to be like a human being and be a part of the world.
Exactly. Yeah,
Um,
and
yeah.
I feel like this is kind of hyper focus that you get on, but when I was a little bit younger, I used it to feel that way. I would spend like 10 hours or so painting, and then I would even forget like take showers or eat.
Hmm.
And then after I started to date my wife, currently wife,
Hmm.
uh, I really started to feel like, dude, there's every day there's a limited amount of time. So if I don't spend time every day doing everything that I want, I will lose a day. And then I started to kind of divide my day in little chunks. So I will spend like 3 hours painting, and then I will spend an hour cooking or doing the dishes and being with my wife, and then I'll exercise. And if everything goes according to what I want, then I will have some more free time to draw more.
Yeah.
So I had to make this kind of restrictions, because if I didn't, I knew I would stop like hanging out with friends and hanging out with my own wife.
Hmm.
And I mean, I started to think like, dude, when I am like 60 or 70, will I be really proud of who I am if I like gave up on lots of things of my life just to like paint more? I didn't believe so. So it kind of started to hit me, and I started to have a different maturity about this topic, because
Yeah.
drawing and stuff. I mean, we do that because we love it. I don't know anybody that works professionally with art that doesn't love doing art. I mean, there's a lot of other jobs that you can earn a lot more money, and it's a lot less taxative of the body and stuff.
Hmm.
But life isn't about just drawing.
Yeah.
And I believe it was Peter Hahn that said that if someone came up to him and said, "Dude, you can have like a 12-month with Kim Jong Ji mentorship, or you can trip all over the world. You can go travel all over the world. What would you do?" And he said, "Dude, I will travel, because it's by doing other things in your daily life that you become a better artist, because that gives so much more references and influences and stuff to your artwork. You can always grow up with a better skill set, but you will never have the chance to really live your life again afterwards.
True story. Absolutely true. Yeah. And I also think people place way too much emphasis on who's teaching you instead of being like the whole point is that life teaches you.
Yeah.
Like I'm not guys, I am not a formally trained illustrator. Like I don't know if people know that. I and I don't say that to flex. Like I'm just making a point about like I went to school for fine art, which I didn't realize meant that the whole thing would be like studying like modernism and postmodernism and all this crap that I hated, completely hated. And there was almost like no room for what I wanted, which was comics and illustration. So what essentially happened was I didn't draw for years after college because I was so annoyed at the art world. And then a friend had a contest. A friend of mine was like, "There's a contest to see who can do the best Gears of War fan art." And I was like, "I have no interest in that. I don't want to do a contest, blah blah blah." And he's like, "No, no, just draw something." And I was like, and I drew for the first time in like 4 years. And
Yeah.
then and this is when I was a boxing coach, so I like came home from teaching it, and then I was like, I did this art, and it wasn't by the standards now. It did not look professional, but I had a good time, and then I just kept drawing again, and then within a year, I was like getting clients. I was like, okay, cool, I'll just keep going. But I the thing that taught me a lot about art was just living life. Like, and I don't mean that in the figurative sense. I mean literally doing things in the world and interacting with people and consuming different media and reading weird books and learning about religion and
Yeah.
philosophy and history. History is the most amazing thing. If you read history, you will never be out of ideas.
Exactly.
And like just to address Broken Blade in the chat, he says sometimes I feel creatively constipated. Dude, diving into any field of the history of the world, you will never be out of ideas. The history of human beings will just it'll never you just everything, every type of inspiration you could ask for is there. Every type of story, every type of design, it's just incredible. Um, and
Yeah.
that's where a lot of my stuff comes from. It's like I don't really, I'm not, and you can tell I'm not formally trained because there's a lot of flaws in my work that I try to hide behind style.
Dude, shh. We don't talk about false.
Okay, fair enough.
It's funny because, like you said before, that your work isn't as pretty as other professionals, and now you're talking about flaws. But actually, this is something that only us see. Eh,
Hmm.
Especially when it comes down to clients, they really don't care that much about the quality of our work as long as it's professional.
Yeah,
There's like this bar, and it doesn't matter how much above the bar you are. As long as you hit this bar, everything's fine. But we like try so much to be perfect and to this feeling of, dude, this isn't enough and I should do better and stuff. But actually, it is just pretty much own battle that we should fight, and
yeah.
people really don't care about it.
Oh,
And
dude.
adding to
Yeah.
that, no, talk. You
No,
can
no,
talk.
I was gonna say I'm so sorry. I agree completely, and I was gonna say, as a bit of advice for anybody who wants to do this, excuse me, don't make your insecurity your client's problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I did that mistake one or two times, and it
yeah,
wasn't worth it,
yeah.
really, because uh, I don't know. It's after all, it's just insecurities. If someone came to you and offered your work, it's because they like it.
Yeah,
They won't be contacting you if they don't like what they see.
yeah.
You know. But you were talking about diving into history books and stuff. The last convention I was, there was this girl that she's doing like fine arts college or stuff, and she asked if she could interview me. And this wasn't the first time, but it always kind of happening.
Hmm.
One of the questions of the interview was, how can you become good enough to do conventions or do professional work and stuff? And I feel like uh, everybody be like, oh, you gotta build skills at this and you gotta study that. But my answer is almost every time is, dude, go and consume art, play video games, read books,
Yeah.
go to a museum. I
Oh,
mean,
totally.
everything in our life is kind of, it really matters for us when it comes to our artistic decisions. So if we don't consume things, we start to get like really really dry. It feels like our work starts to get like the same work every time,
Hmm. Yeah.
but if you just, I mean, we started drawing, painting, because we saw other person's works and felt like, dude, this is amazing. I want to do something like that.
Hmm.
So it's strange because the more work we get and the more professional we become, the less we start, uh, uh, the less we consume of art.
Hmm.
And it's weird because what made us go to that career is watching, is playing, and then we stop that, and then we start to don't know why our work isn't evolving.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
So
really that's so true. Yeah. They get like they kind of lose the joy.
yeah,
Um.
it,
Yeah.
I feel like people get stuck studying. I got stuck studying too. I used it to be like, dude, if I don't reach that level, I can't go after work. I can look for work. I can, this kind of feeling. Like,
Hmm.
but you get stuck there and you'll never get out of there. I know a lot of people that are like really really skillful artists, but they keep doing those gestural drawings forever and they don't build a portfolio. They
Oh,
you
dude.
know
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's like I have a whole psychological theory about artists doing quote unquote studies. It's literally just like I am so scared of because here's the thing. Here's what it is. If you every time you decide to do a piece, like a finished piece, what you're doing is you're setting a goal, and every time you set a goal, you're actually setting conditions for failure, right? You're
Yeah.
letting yourself know, if I don't reach this, that means I failed at this piece. And people are so scared of failing that they would rather do a million studies drawing hands and, like, their grandma's face and profile,
Yeah.
and like, I'm just learning about it's like, no, no, no. Go, I mean, like, that's great, studies are great, but like, I don't do studies, I never do them, I just draw what I want, and if I don't do it well, I just keep doing it until it gets better, and that's it. And like, you just get better, but like, just draw what you find interesting. And
And you won't stumble into your own
yeah,
weaknesses if you don't try to fight against it, you know.
yeah,
So I
totally.
really feel like the last 2 years made me evolve so much in art because I wasn't like really caring about honing a particular skill. I was just caring about delivering work.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that there's a Korean guy that his name is John Kafka, and
Mm.
he says that the best method for you to become a better artist is to try to deliver a piece on social media every day. It doesn't matter if it turned
Wow.
out good or bad,
Yeah.
because if you put you into that situation, you will start to care a lot less about the actual piece, and you start to care a lot more about doing it every single day. You know,
Yeah.
I I, I mean there is a lot of great painters that spend like months in a single paint into a single painting and stuff, and that's okay. But dude, if you really wanna get better, you gotta like just do a lot, practice, practice, practice. Like you can let's use the boxing analogy. You can go and hit the sack, the punching bag for like uh the entire day. You won't get as good as if you go every day for an hour to punch the bag and get lessons, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, actually, this is actually a great thing you brought up, because so I would say punching the heavy bag is the equivalent of doing studies. That your technique gets better, but you don't learn how to put it into context. Because in boxing, something that would come up is that people would be hitting the heavy bag and they would have perfect form when they're boxing against the bag, and then you put them in even just a little bit of light sparring against another person, and suddenly they're in full panic mode because they've never had anything hit them back.
Yeah.
And like, the what I'm so that I think it's perfectly aligns with what we're talking about is like, if you can't, the studies is hitting the heavy bag, right? It's good for technique, but the passion of the fight isn't there. But when you try to tackle an illustration, a drawing that you're going to try to finish and say, this is what I did and this is as good as I can do right now, then you're still hitting the bag, you're not sparring. um,
Yep.
so you're not actually improving in your like ability to fight, you're just getting better at like looking really smooth on the bag. And it'll make you more fit, right? Like, it definitely improves your fitness, just like doing sketches and studies will definitely improve your ability to draw. But your ability to draw precisely what's in your head comes from you actually making a decision to do weird stuff that you're not necessarily studying. It's like, so yeah, I would say people need to lose their fear and just go for it. And I don't know. I think I recommend everybody who's like feels like their paintings are lacking something. I recommend trying line art for a bit because it can only
Yeah.
help.
And I don't know, I feel like even if you pour all of your effort into something, when it comes to like in a year or like when I look back at my work from 2 years ago,
Hmm.
3 years ago,
Yeah,
I always find a lot of flaws that I wasn't seeing at the moment.
of course. Yeah.
And I mean, you can pour like hours and hours and hours in a single piece,
Hmm.
but after doing like 20 more pieces after that, you will look it back and be like, dude, why did I pour so much time in that?
Hmm.
I had a teacher that used it to say that it doesn't matter if the car is good painted. I mean the physical car, if it doesn't have an engine. And I really feel like the engine is the drawing aspect of it, the line art aspect of it.
Hmm.
It won't work if the drawing is bad, and we just get faster if we know how to build an engine. Like we don't do houses without an structure,
Yeah.
but people keep looking at realism and thinking like, dude, I need to make that eye feel like it's real. But
Yeah.
dude, the eye doesn't matter if the face is crooked, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. People like to noodle. That was something that I was talking to Lone Wolf in the chat. I actually was he was showing some of his art, and I was like, I think it's from what I've seen, like I'm not calling you out, Zuru, I just feel like you're a good example of this. He does a lot of noodling, and there's a time and place for noodling. But I was like, it's good, but I actually feel like if he spent a little more time in the initial phase where you're like doing loose sketching and like moving big broad movements around the page before you go in tight and obsess about one particular detail. I think this was Lone Wolf, and maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was someone else. I'm trying to remember, but it was someone who wanted and this person did not mind being publicly critiqued. So just everyone, FYI, I'm not just picking on somebody, but they had asked me about it, and I was like, yeah, I think that you're because everybody wants to noodle. Like it's very tempting for artists because we're all like weird, so we want to zoom in and just like render one thing crazily. But if you look at a lot of the professionals, they spend so much time zoomed out on a page. They're not looking, they're
Yep.
like they're doing a lot of broad because the most important thing is a silhouette. So if you look at this panel, guys, that I worked on with this monster character, Jesse Simunde, he's screaming. Like if you look, the sketch underneath was basically just his silhouette. I didn't even the details. I don't even need to think about it because if the silhouette is strong, I know where everything's gonna go. Like here's, let me see if can I find it. Yes, it's here. So it's just me establishing a silhouette. That's all I did because that's all you really need to do if you know. And I know that's like saying it's that easy, guys, but like I don't mean to sound like a prick. I'm just saying like if you have a strong sense of the shape of an object or a person, then it instantly makes the rest of the drawing much easier. Which is why
Yeah,
yeah,
and
go ahead.
even if you zoom out like a lot, like if you turn this in like a thumbnail, you can still see his silhouette.
Yeah,
So it's all about that first glance because nobody gonna spend like an hour looking at your drawing. They probably gonna spend like 2 seconds.
yeah.
So it gotta have a good read.
Isn't that crazy that especially in comics, I spend so much time drawing this shit, and most people are gonna read through it once and then put it on a shelf. It's just like,
Yeah,
but even illustrated, even people who work for like D and like all these, they're doing these beautiful paintings, and even like Brad Rigney, who's like one of the greatest illustrators alive, who was saying like he's like I spend months lovingly rendering the face of like a dragon that some kid's gonna look at for 5 seconds and then they're gonna like flip it on its head and because they're playing cards with a friend. He's like, and I just have to accept that that's my life. And I was like, yeah,
yeah.
it's whatever.
And I really believe that it happens to us too. When it comes to our own work, we look it a lot. But when it comes to work from other professionals that we enjoy, we'll probably look it at first and be like, "Dude, that's cool," and then we'll zoom in and look a little bit more, and then we'll never look it back again unless someone says, "Do you know someone who's really good?" And then you go like, "Oh, I remember that good guy," and then you bring his work again
Yeah,
and look at it for 5 more seconds and then shove it off. You
yeah,
know?
yeah. And comics is interesting because with comics, it's like people people they read comics for the story, but they keep them for the art. I find,
Yeah, exactly.
like
At least I am one of those guys.
yeah, yeah, you like because it's like yeah, this is cool to read, but like I want to read it again because I really like the way that the story works with the image. Like that's
Yeah.
it's like watching a movie over and over. If the story's interesting, that's great, but if the music is also great and the costumes and the characters and like the look, like it's just there's the visual sense is like I've watched RoboCop like 150,000 damn times, and a lot of it is because it's like I love the movie. It's a perfect movie, but like look at how cool RoboCop looks in that suit. It's
Yeah.
just like it just looks so awesome, and that's like you want to create a sense of you want people to get like a little bit addicted to the image where they want to keep looking at it, and um Yeah, no, there's a lot you could get into. Let me check the chat real quick. I feel like I've missed a billion comments. Um, so Lone Wolf says that wasn't him, but but he does need to be more loose.
Sorry,
Sorry,
Lone
Lone
Wolf.
Wolf.
You got called out
Yeah.
for
Oh,
nothing.
Broken Blade is saying that we called him out.
Sorry, Broken Blade, but you should work more. Well, just joking.
Yeah, I don't even know when we called him out.
Mm.
But are you good for a little bit, or do you want to go? The guy I'm talking to.
Oh, I feel like I'm gonna go. It's 8 p.m. right now, so we gotta have some dinner.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was really fun being here, man. I feel glad that we actually managed to meet up and talk a
Yeah.
bit. I'm sorry, Chad, for talking about everything on aside art, but me and Ryan, we have like this relationship of friendship, and
Hmm.
it feels good to talk about everything that we enjoy aside actual work. I mean,
Yeah.
we work the entire week.
Yeah.
Why should we talk about work all the time?
And you and I talk about work a lot already, so like
Yeah,
it feels like
exactly.
I wanted to get a sense of what other things are going on in your life. But I'm sorry that we went late, but I was just enjoying the conversation. So I
No, man, it was real good to be here. It's just that I mean, it's been 2 hours, right?
yeah,
So,
yeah, no, but
like,
listen, you have a good night. Please give my best to your wife.
sure, man.
I've never met her, but just let her know that
She's sending hugs for you too.
Oh,
She always says like, "Dude, once you get in the Ryan string, he loves you." And I'd be like, "Dude, I love him too, but gotta
yeah,
have some limits there."
yeah. My
Yeah.
wife definitely knows the guy, the guy in my chat. All right, well, listen.
Yeah.
Have a good night, man.
You
And
too, man.
everybody in the chat, thank you for joining us. And Guy, if you wanna send us off with a goodbye.
Yeah, people. Adeus. This is goodbye in Portuguese. Sayonara. This is goodbye in Japanese. Adios. This is in Spanish, and I can't handle another language. But thank you all.
All
See you
right.
later, man. We'll
On
talk soon.
on that note, God bless. Good night.
God bless. Good night. See ya.